I used to be 125 kilos. Over the last 6 years, I managed to transform my life. I used to be someone that would wake up super late, like 4 p.m., especially in my first year of university. I would drink alcohol, I would smoke weed, I would eat crappy food all the time. But now I do the complete opposite. I wake up early, I work hard, I train hard, I read, and I'm a completely different person. And so in this video, I want to share with you the neuroscience of motivation so that you can transform your life too. Alright, so to explain the neuroscience of motivation, I'm going to share with you 3 different ideas: the currency analogy, the pain-pleasure balance, and finally, with this understanding of these 2 things, how you can live a virtuous life. Now, most people don't understand what dopamine really is. And to be honest, I don't understand either. I'm not a neuroscientist, I'm not a sleep scientist, but I understand enough to help me make good enough decisions because I've obsessed over it for the last few years. Now, what you need to understand about dopamine is that in the morning, when you wake up, you have this bucket of dopamine and it almost behaves like the money in your bank. Apart from the fact that every single night it replenishes when you sleep. It would be great if your bank account did too, but unfortunately that's not the case. Now, with the money that you have in your bank of dopamine, let's say it's £100 at the start of the day, you can either spend that money or you can invest that money. And I'm going to share with you which activities that you participate in to invest it and which activities you participate in to spend it. Now, if you want to invest the dopamine, that is reading, that is writing, working out, basically anything that feels slightly uncomfortable in the moment is like investing your dopamine. What I mean by investing is that you put some of the dopamine into it to undertake these activities. You spend some of that dopamine, but in return what you get is dopamine back. Now, the problem with society at the moment, or maybe for the last 50 years, don't quote me on that exact fact, but is that we also have the opportunity to spend dopamine. And that brings us on to the pain-pleasure balance. Now, what most people don't realize is that we feel pain and pleasure in the same place in our brain, and they exist on a balance. And so on one side of the balance, you have pain, and the other side of the balance, you have pleasure. When you spend your dopamine, you will feel a sense of pleasure. And the reason why you feel a sense of pleasure is because big companies that are out there to make money in this capitalist society that we live in are hijacking your reward system. And so what they do is they artificially basically release dopamine in your brain with things like fast food, junk food, social media, and all these different things. And as a result of that, you do feel a sense of pleasure. But Isaac Newton said that every action has an opposite and equal reaction. And so after we feel this sense of pleasure, very soon afterwards, we feel a sense of pain. And this is that feeling of craving. For example, let's say you go on the phone and you start scrolling, you put your phone down, you're like, right, I'm gonna focus on some work. There will be a sense of discomfort in your body, that urge to pick up your phone again. That is the feeling of pain. Now, if you compound this over and over again, you do get into a state where you feel constantly in pain unless you're indulging in the behaviors that are making you feel pleasure instantly. That is how you spend your dopamine. The problem occurs the more that we spend our dopamine, the less that we have left to do the effortful activities that bring us real happiness. If you want to feel more motivated in your life to do the difficult things like working out, working on your business, creating content, whatever it is, then you have to prioritize investing in your dopamine and spending less of your dopamine. What I mean by that is you have to do less of the crappy activities that give you instant gratification, and you have to do more of the activities that fulfill you. Because the more that you do the crappy activities, the more that you spend your dopamine, the more that you feel pleasure instantly, but you will feel pain after that, which will stop you from feeling motivated to do the activities that fulfill you. So when you wake up in the morning and your dopamine is replenished, when you have a full tank of dopamine, that's when you have the choice. That's when you have the best opportunity to invest in the activities that, yes, use your dopamine and feel effortful in the moment, but bring you back dopamine so that you can continue and create this cycle of virtuousness to live the good life, the fulfilled life. And if you want help with the habits that are keeping you stuck in a cycle of constantly not feeling like you are reaching your potential, then click the link in the description. You can have a one-to-one call with me completely for free. And if you're not interested in that, then click the link here, because I created a video on how you can stop overeating for good, and it should help you out. Peace.